Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here. You know who it is? Answering a question, a letter from a fan that I got over here, who we'll call Denny. Don't want to just give away full names and email addresses on here. Not trying to dox anybody, you know. Got a very thoughtful question over here. That's sort of a bit of a response or a takeoff from a video that I came out with in the past. We have, Dear Anthony, thank you for taking the time to read this. I want to get your views on one topic. In your Can Bad People Make Good Music, you said you can't blame crappy decisions on something you heard in a Chief Keef song. I stand by that. Of course, this is true, but there are people who are underage, who are not well educated by their parents. Do you think songs about using drugs, killing people could be really effective for underage people? And should we support, buying their albums, singers that make good music but always sing about selling drugs, etc.? Thank you again. Have a great day. Good question. Look, for me, ultimately, the responsibility sort of still sits on the shoulder of the individual, and not necessarily just the individual, being that young, impressionable kid who ran across, as you sort of cite here, just kind of use it as an example, this Chief Keef song. And then all of a sudden he wants to do the things that are in the Chief Keef song. Obviously, that person may be very young and very impressionable, but still, I think the responsibility sits upon the shoulders of that person's parents to guide that person and tell that person, hey, this is music. This is sort of like a fantasy that this person, or a lot of rappers in general, sort of put forward, that, oh, hey, I'm just partying all the time. Hey, I'm just doing all this. I'm just doing all that. And not to say that the things that Chief Keef doesn't rap about don't come from a real place, which is part of the reason I sort of personally have an issue with, if you enjoy his music, you enjoy it. If you want to support it, then support it, because the fact that a lot of what he raps about and a lot of what he does, again, it comes from a real place. I sort of take issue with the idea of censoring him or boycotting him, because the thing is, at the end of the day, there are a lot of systematic issues that sort of lead Chief Keef to be in the position that he's in, that maybe this person who identifies with him and wants to lead the lifestyle that he does is also suffering from as well. So ultimately, the responsibility of bad decisions lies upon the person who commits those bad decisions. Then maybe if that person's super young, you can sort of draw that back to, well, maybe this person's parents should have educated him or her a little bit better, or have guided him through the situation so that he was actually like making a good decision for himself. And then you can even pull it further back to not the responsibility of Chief Keef, but rather the responsibility of the country and the society that those people live in, that, let's say, not even hypothetically, but, sort of in reality, there are tons of people that find themselves in the situation of a Chief Keef due to poverty, due to the drug war, due to, you have a lot of one-parent households, which, not only are there tons of studies about sort of the lack of a father figure having a really negative effect on adolescents, on teenagers, but you're also talking about, parents and kids who are in a situation where in 2017, it's hard enough to live off of one income in a household with parents and kids. Rather what I want to say, it's hard enough to live off of two. Now you're stripping it down to one, because you may have a father who's out of the picture, who's in prison as a result of, things like the drug war. And, basically these victimless crimes where someone is just using and not hurting anybody else but themselves, or sort of, the immediately, the people around them due to their bad behavior, because maybe they're not living up to or being as responsible as they could possibly be. However, putting that person in jail and denying that person the ability to become a contributing member of society is even worse than just leaving them up to their own devices, where, again, they're just ultimately hurting themselves by abusing substance A, B, or C. And also, don't even get me down into the rabbit hole of, sure, someone could be caught with a lot of marijuana, or somebody could be caught even with a lot of cocaine. But, you're talking about drugs that are not as destructive or as comparably destructive as alcohol. You could easily just be, a horrible alcoholic, and not be sent to jail for using and purchasing alcohol. Obviously, within certain contexts, you will if you're drinking and driving, something like that. But you could have somebody who's out of jail because they're just an alcoholic, but somebody who smokes weed on a somewhat habitual basis, that person's going to go into prison, depending, if they get caught, depending on where they are, and, if they are caught for how long. Again, I digress here and just want to bring it back around to sort of summate. Bad decisions, those are on the shoulders of the person who make them. Then, maybe if they're young, the responsibility of the people who should be guiding them through life. And then beyond that, you're talking about the societal context and the systematic context that that person lives within that, could also potentially be influencing their bad decisions in a much greater fashion than one Chief Keef could possibly be. So, are there things, or should we have issue with things that influence people to make bad decisions? Yeah, sure, absolutely, without question. But on the hierarchy of what influences people to make horrible decisions, things like Chief Keef, things like Grand Theft Auto, things like violent movies, they don't rank in the top 5. And if they do rank in the top 5, it's because you're in a situation where a parent isn't stepping in to guide somebody through that situation. It's because you're in a situation where somebody is desperate and they don't have any other choice, So again, I digress. I'm just going to leave it at that. Ultimately, the things that influence you to make horrible decisions are the things that leave you to your own devices, and you're basically under-aware or undereducated on what positive decisions for yourself are. Those problems do not stem from a Chief Keef. They don't stem from really any artist making music about being naughty or doing bad things. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Here's another video next to my head that you should check out, that you should watch, and you're the best.